Hi, my name is Jordan Thorne. I am the editorial content manager here at FEI TV. We're here at Boston Innovation Festival, and I'm joined here by Steve Wozniak. He's the co-founder of Apple. Thank you so much for joining us today, Steve.
Great to be here with you, Jordan.
Fantastic. So I just wanted to jump in and start with asking you about how important risk-taking is in innovation, and how can a company or a leader cultivate this in their employee culture?
Well, there are actually variations of risk, but almost always you're doing something that's unknown whether you're going to be successful or not if you're a startup. One of the things is you have to go convince other people just to raise money if you want to be big, but a lot of people just do it in their homes, in their garages, on their own. And boy, you have to be the sort of person who would take a risk. If you weren't taking a risk, everybody in the world knows the exact same things that would, say, be the next step in technology and make a new product. And no, it's the ones that are going to astound the world. You know, everything you never expected, search engines, you know, and personal computers and iPhones and a whole bunch of different categories. They almost come out of the out-of-the-box thinking is the things that really change our lives, not the things that you're taking no risk at all. Now, once you're a big company, you kind of organize things with all your money and resources to take very little risk. But the world really changes because of risk takers and startups and entrepreneurs who think, no idea. I don't even know if it's possible technically, or I don't even know if it's going to be successful or change the world, or I'll bet on it and sometimes you're wrong. That's all so much risk taking. And that really is what brings us to new things that didn't exist, new elements of our economy, new foundation companies. And that's where new wealth is created. And it's not just replacing older wealth or just taking the next step. It's not like every other company. Those are the things that bring us more in life.
Fantastic. So I think that leads me very well into my next question, which is, what advice do you have for those with an idea in their head, but maybe don't know how to go about turning that idea into something that's actually tangible?
Well, there are different people have different levels of communication, extroversion, introversion. Some are on social web, some aren't. You know, first of all, talk with your friends, small little settings, and then talk in even bigger settings. Express your idea and see if it starts catching on. Now, if you're afraid, I'm going to be giving away an idea, well, your idea would be too obvious anyway. A lot of people would figure it out.
Okay.
You know, generally, a lot of the best, if you're taking a risk, big risk taking, you're doing something so new, nobody knows the outcome. So no, people really aren't going to start jumping in the exact same direction with our personal computers. All the big computer companies who knew everything said, it's never going to be anything, just a little hobbyist, never going to impact business.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you don't know, and you have to be the one who takes the risk. And you can fail. You can take a risk, you can have a great idea, and it can change the world, but not enough, and it still fails.
And so I'm curious to know, I know you worked with Steve Jobs, and I wanted to know what you thought about his leadership qualities, whether, what about him made him a good leader and what made him maybe a poorer leader.
He was fast moving. He wanted to be the leader. He put himself in that position more than he was just admired for it and accidental. No, he absolutely wanted to be seen that way. Your wants in life are more important than your skills. Things that you want to are the things you achieve, even in products, even in your life. I mean, I taught in public elementary schools for 8 years of my life, no press allowed, little secret. And I found out it was less important what I taught. It was more important I made the students want to learn it. If they enjoyed it, and fun is a big part of this. Fun is that. So wanting things, having an end goal in sight, you find the path to get there if it's a strong, strong desire. And for Steve Jobs, being a leader was his strong desire.
Yeah. Great answer. And so, I know you've done a lot of work since leaving Apple, educating kids through philanthropy, and one example being Camp Woz, where you empowered youth to find their strengths by exposing them to technology-based learning. So how do you think these kinds of programs targeting kids at the developmental stage can really help prepare upcoming generations to meet the demands they'll face in the workplace and beyond?
I believe my whole life that the foundations of our society and our abilities all start when we're very young, and starts in school. School is a little bit redundant in the day of search engines and all that and the internet. So but still motivating students to want to think differently and be creative. One of the things that we leave out of our standard education, we teach the same subjects we always taught, and we teach them the same ways. The way education's done hasn't really changed, and yet everybody says it has to. We have to be goal oriented, or we have to come up with kids who think for themselves. We have to get rid of grades so they don't get turned off at an early age. All those things just don't happen. So a lot of it's outside of school. Voluntary helpers can come in, set up projects, but I believe that learning, strangely enough, electronics and technology and computers, digital technology, hardware and software, is so exciting to some people. It's not right for everybody.
Yeah.
The world doesn't need 100% of us to be digital experts and be able to design computers. The world doesn't need 100% of us to know about history either, or mathematics.
Yeah.
Really, there's the sort of jobs that make society work well are spread out. So, but the people should have a chance to discover this computer stuff. I'm good at it. I want to do it for my life. And that should be a strong curriculum, not where it's just, one class throughout high school. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It should really be a strong curriculum, because what comes about from it is a lot of clear thinking. You have to have this happen and that happen and that happen, this happen, and you go back and you correct things and fix them up, and you learn a lot more about real life through that than you do about memorizing the capitals of all 50 states.
Yeah, completely agree. And so, how important do you feel that mentorship is to developing good leaders? And I know you've always sort of been a doer in your own right. Have you ever had a mentor that really impacted your career?
Didn't really have much of a mentor. My career kind of evolved from early school days on, when I was very shy.
Yeah.
And didn't really talk to others. I just my mentor might have been any books or any my own thinking. My brain was my mentor. I did have some early ones. In high school, I had an incredible teacher who wrote his own lessons, didn't use a book, and it was an electronics teacher. He had more electronics equipment than any of the local colleges, and he built it up by clever approaches to getting a bit at a time by working with industry outside of the school. He said, education is not all in the school. And Mr. McCollum, he was an incredible mentor.
Wow.
Steve Jobs had him also, and a lot of other great people.
Oh, wow.
And my father was a great mentor, because he mentored me not only on engineering when I had a question. He didn't ever put his values on us and say, you should be an engineer like me. My brother and sister would have been engineers maybe.
Yeah.
No, he just said, you choose for yourself. Here's what things are in the world, and here's how you make your choices. That's good education. So I've always believed that education is the key, and to this day, I wish we had more of this digital. Give a goal. Here's a goal. You find the ways to achieve it. We will have some courses in our school that will give you some of the techniques, but you'll have all the books and be able to do it on your own. Because when somebody starts going on their own, wow, this is mine, this is my creation, I want to show it off, the excitement drives you to much greater results than otherwise.
Yeah. And just to finish off, what would be one piece of advice that you could offer an aspiring leader or entrepreneur?
Hopefully you're young and young enough to have a lot of mental capacity and physical capacity, and even to think out your personnel, think out your goals for the company, the future culture of your company, and have an idea of what is right, what is wrong, how do I want to be in life? Do I want to be nice and well liked? Do I want to be real tough and disciplined? But you should have that personality well formulated and know who you are inside. That's a type of truth. Also, always follow truth. If you see a better way to do something, acknowledge it and go that way, and be willing to be flexible and change. Even though your idea is good, it might not be good enough.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for speaking with us. It's been lovely.
Yes, my
Thank
pleasure.
you.